we're back. Not now we're back. I don't know why that happens, dude. I need to figure out why that happens. Ethan, we're back. Wednesday night inside the diamond on Twitter, X, YouTube, wherever you're watching from. We appreciate you guys tuning in after what was two really long streams during the All-Star break for both the draft and the home run derby. Help us cook up some bets. I got you guys for that.
That's your guy right there.
You know, I'll have something for you guys. We'll get hitters to watch, maybe some pitching stuff up for it. I don't know. I got some more time on my hands to do that. But Ethan, it's not what we're here to talk about right now. We're talking second half today. We got a little bit of a lighter episode for everybody, a little mailbag episode. We threw up a couple posts earlier in the day. You guys asked us a bunch of questions, had a bunch of hot takes about the second half that you want to talk about. But Ethan,
great questions, by the way.
Great,
fantastic.
Questions. But maybe before we get into that, Ethan, just a little bit of quick recap on the All-Star break as a whole, maybe the All-Star game, because I know we already kind of talked about both the home run derby and the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think All-Star game, probably the best one that I've seen. The fact that it was like a home run derby style ending was absolutely unbelievable. Shout out Kyle Schwarber. I think he went 0 for 2, but still won the All-Star game MVP with hitting 3 bombs, which is unbelievable. But yeah, great All-Star game. Loved what the Rays guys did. And the home run derby stream that we did was unbelievable too. So can't be happier than to come on after that and just to talk some more second half stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Pete was robbed of the MVP, but when you go 3 for 3 in a swing off with 3 bombs, like
that moment was so cool. Like I agree, like he probably got snubbed, but at the same time, like that's probably the best All-Star moment we've seen in probably a long time.
Yeah, I threw up a post like before going to bed saying that was like the best way to end an All-Star game possible. A lot of people 100%. Disagreed. A lot of people agreed as well. I see the point. You know, you wanting a walk-off win in the All-Star game would be awesome, but then you also risk like these guys are going 100%. Like you're running out of arms. Like guy could get hurt like sliding into home for a walk-off. Yeah, like, you don't want that in an All-Star game.
Right, and I just think it's overall like more entertaining. I like the injury point too because you don't want these guys to get overworked. And plus, I don't think you can ask for a better ending of an All-Star game. That was like truly in probably any All-Star sport, that was the best ending you probably could have had.
Yeah, no, Toby's boy Aranda. So that's more Ethan's boy than mine. I love Aranda, but no,
yeah,
I honestly
not the best showing.
No, but I talked about this earlier. Like I love the fact that it came down to a guy like Jonathan Aranda in his first All-Star performance to come up and do that. Like I felt the nerves for the kid in the box there. And it wasn't even like, you know, that big or really meaningful of a moment. I mean, it depends how much you really look into the All-Star game. Right. One thing that I really loved, and I was also kind of battling the idea of like liking and disliking this, the players being constantly mic'd up, I think takes away a lot of commentary. But at the end of the day, I think it also is really good for just growing the sport and showing the better personalities. Yeah. Like PCA in the outfield was awesome. Jacob Wilson talking to his dad in the stands mid All-Star game was like one of the coolest moments I've ever seen. And then I'm trying to Kershaw on the mound too, like saying like, all right, fine, I'll throw a curve and blows one by Vlad Jr. Like that's awesome.
The Kershaw mic up was awesome too. And then you got Kyle Raleigh and Tarek Skubal going at it. Like that was unbelievable. Asking him how he's going to attack a guy like Shohei Ohtani. It's like, yeah, I mean, dude, I haven't been able to get this guy out that much. Like I think it's great for the game of baseball. Got to credit to Tarek Skubal to still pitch with that going on. Same thing with Kershaw. Like the fact that you're going out there, they're still pumping 100 miles an hour and you got commentators in your ear is like next level. The fact that they're still able to focus and do that is remarkable.
I think it did take his focus away a little bit, and that's why we saw him give up some runs. Like
it did. You could just tell from the body language. He was like, "All right, shut up! Like I'm trying to like, you know."
Yeah, like my mom was like, "Skubal has such a bad personality for the mic." I was like, "No, he doesn't." I was like, "He actually has a really good personality.
He does,
he shows a lot of emotion." Like,
right.
I was like, "You can't expect like the guy making his first. I believe that's his first All-Star game start."
Yeah, and they're chirping in him right after he gives up a 2-run double. Like I don't even think there was an out recorded yet, and he gives up 2 runs. Like the last thing he wants to do is explain like how good this guy is at the plate. He's like, wow, like I want to go and dominate these next 3 guys and get the hell out of the inning.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was against that they asked him, but they were like, how cool is it to be up against like these guys? Like they're up against these guys every single day. Like not like the Shohei Otanis of the league.
Right.
Like, they're major league baseball players. Like it's not like this kid's playing like AAA and is called up for like a Futures game. It's a little different. But did you watch any of the Futures game? I don't think we even talked about that.
Not so much of the Futures game. I mean, I saw like the brief highlights. I saw Brody Hopkins have like probably one of the quickest 1-2-3 innings I've seen. I think it was like 9 pitches or something like that. But yeah, the
totally
Futures game. Yeah, probably pretty easy to miss it considering it was 9 pitches. I think the inning was like 48 seconds or something like that. Definitely you could miss something like that. But yeah, the All-Star break, I think this was probably the best one in a while. Toby and I talked about it on the last episode. I personally haven't watched the All-Star game in a few years. I watched, I think, all 7 innings, and then I watched a little bit of like the 8th and 9th. So I watched 7 full innings, and then I came back for a little bit during like the home run style derby at the end. So I just great for the game of baseball, and I think it's much better of a brand of an All-Star game this year than we saw with the last couple.
Yeah, no, the last inning, like Kwan, like just keeping the game alive, like for the swing off to even happen, like everything just worked out the way it should. The ABS system was hilarious to watch in the All-Star game, all the players' reactions, like that for growing the game. That All-Star game is probably the best that I've seen, and they let them wear their jerseys again. Thank God.
Thank God.
And one last note, we talked about the draft like a lot the last couple of days, so I don't need to say anything more about that. Ethan, though, 5th round, I believe the Rays picked James Quinn Irons from George Mason. I don't know if you saw that pick. That's an amazing pick. That dude is disgusting.
Fantastic.
I can't wait. I'm going to have to venture out to the west coast of Florida and see him probably.
I will say, though, the last kind of thing we'll touch on the draft, the Red Sox in the later parts of the draft did fantastic. The amount of college arms that I was seeing, it was so good. Yeah, a lot of good drafts. We talked about the Orioles having an unbelievable first round. If you go and look at the Red Sox last 3 or 4 picks, crazy snipes.
Yeah, I thought some other teams like the Rockies had a really good draft. The Marlins had a really intriguing draft for me. The A's got some really good guys at the top there. I'm recapping every single org's draft class and trying to put them all into articles here in probably the next coming week. So that's just taking me a little while, but I'm going to hopefully have the first one out tomorrow. Last note on the draft. So a lot of good stuff there, but not totally done with all the draft stuff. But we're like 10 minutes into this show, Ethan, so we might as well get into some of these second half questions in the mailbag. Why don't you start it off? Why don't you pick us the first question here?
Honestly, I think Brett's is fantastic. At Skippers You, Brett, Yankees get super aggressive and win the World Series. There's no one better that I would want on to talk about this than Toby. How do you feel about that? Because I have my own opinions. We agreed to an extent, but how do you feel about that?
I think saying we agreed to an extent is a perfect way to go about it because it's there. It's right in front of them, Ethan. It's what Aaron Boone always says. It's right in front of them. They can go out and get a guy at third base that they need, like Eugenio Suarez. If they can't get him, I don't think it even has to be said what guy we think they should go after because in the early goings of Inside the Diamond, we probably said his name on every single show. Ryan McMahon,
every episode.
Very, very well be a New York Yankee. And then if he can't, I would welcome in a glove like Brian Hayes at third. I mean, at least it would give us really, really good defense there. And I think if you just get him to hit like 230, maybe that's serviceable enough. Like near a 700 OPS, I wouldn't love, but like that's what's going on there.
Look at action.
I saw something poking in the frame. I was like,
"No, you're good." Little Yankees talking. He got a little excited, but
he thinks they can make a push for the World Series. I just saw it on my second.
Not in this household.
No, no.
Yeah, but I do agree though, and I know we talked about it a little bit off camera. I think the bullpen being addressed is probably the main thing outside of third base right now. I know that's something that Cashman has been talking about too. I love the Brian Hayes shout. Ryan McMahon, we've been preaching for like 17 or 18 episodes. Like this guy is probably going to be a New York Yankee. And you got to think about it like long-term too. They have a lot of guys that are probably not going to stay on the team, like a Paul Goldschmidt. Who knows how long Cody Bellinger is going to be, especially playing as well as he has other than the first month of the season. I think this is maybe an area where you can kind of make some big moves, especially in the AL where there really isn't a solidified team that is probably going to represent the AL in the World Series this year. I think this is probably a window where you could do that.
Yeah. No, other than like the Tigers, really, I mean, I think the Yankees are still in position to be like that still top dog in the AL come the end of the season. And
right.
You mentioned the bullpen already, so I don't even have to talk about that. But the rotation still, while it has Rodon and Max Fried playing at an all-star level, does have question marks because after those two, it goes down to 2 young guys in Will Warren and Cam Schlittler, who's only made 1 start. That 1 start, by the way, I thought looked really, really promising for what he could offer us for the rest of the year. Then you got Marcus Stroman there in the back half. And that one is really where I start to say I don't know how far this team can go. So we'll see if they make a move for a starter at the deadline. I haven't really looked into starters that they could seriously get. I mean, the first that like maybe comes to mind is one that I wouldn't really want as Mitch Keller. I mean, solid guy we could throw in the back end of the rotation, but I also don't love how central guys translate to the Yankees market usually.
Right.
So
yeah, and I
I don't
think
know.
too, like outside of Fried and Rodon, and even in my personal opinion, I'm still not fully trusting Carlos Rodon in like a game 2 or game 3 scenario. I think if they could make a big splash, if they had a package where it was like a third base and a pitcher, the bullpen arm, they kind of cost a premium around the deadline, but I think the Yankees analytic department the last few years has been really good with that. So I could easily see them just getting kind of an under the radar bullpen name and just turning him into an absolute beast. So definitely address maybe a rotation guy, definitely third base, and maybe even just a sneaky reliever at the deadline.
Yeah, and last thing I want to say about that before we move on, they can get super aggressive all they want. There's still pieces in this farm I really don't want them to part ways with. Lombard obviously being one of them. I still don't want them to part ways with Spencer Jones, but if you're telling me it could help us get a guy like Sandy Alcantara maybe, then I would start to maybe be interested in that. Even then, I just want to see Spencer Jones make his debut in Yankee Stadium. Right. Ben Hess, I'd be comfortable with moving him. We don't have a lot of arms, but the draft just did happen. We got some pretty damn good arms in that draft. Not as many as we took last year, but I mean, the only arm I would really say I want to keep is Carlos Lagrange, and then maybe a guy like Elmer Rodriguez Cruz as well, who just got a promotion to Double-A. Guys like Brock Selvage can maybe be a good trade piece. Cam Schlittler, I also don't want to see moved. I want to see what we have with him. But that's the last thing. They could be as aggressive as they want, but there are pieces I think they would be pretty dumb to move.
Yeah, and really quick before we probably go to the next one, Nate says Kyle Freeland package with Ryan McMahon. I would love that. I think Kyle Freeland, outside of Coors, is probably a solid pitcher. I mean, even the one instance that we saw him in George M. Steinbrenner, he absolutely carved us up on opening day.
And that's not an easy part to play in either.
No. I think Kyle Freeland, you could probably work well with the arsenal. There's a lot of stuff to work with, and I think a lot of his stuff skews really bad from Coors. I think you can get a few guys out of there, especially like a Jake Bird, and see how he does outside of Coors, and even the success he's had there too. So I could definitely see a guy like Kyle Freeland being a Yankee as well.
I love what he offers outside of Coors, like you said, and the advanced profile doesn't look amazing, but 30% chase rate, 5.5% walk rate. I think the Yankees would like a guy like that. So
there's plenty of stuff to work there with him for sure.
And they're gonna make a package deal. Like they're not gonna, if it's a third baseman, it's gonna be someone else. So
right.
I mean, I don't know, would the D-backs move like AJ Puck or something like in?
Yeah, I think AJ Puck is, I believe he's hurt, but I think
I don't know.
I could definitely see something similar to that though.
Let me see if he is hurt, because that was honestly an arm that I just thought of off the top of my head. But I like I've heard Gallen and Suarez and he's
Gallen and Suarez would be a good
60-day IL. Never mind, I don't want.
Yeah, he's out for a little bit.
not exactly a piece that will help you win a World Series this year. I don't know. I'm all for a package like Freeland and McMahon, and I think that would be a pretty affordable one for the Yankees compared to the ones that unless they want to go get Brian Hayes and Mitch Keller.
Yeah, I think a Brian Hayes and Mitch Keller one does make sense. I think Keller does have control as well, which is definitely helpful for the Yankees. But I definitely think a Ryan McMahon and Kyle Freeland is more affordable. But at the same time, like the Yankees they don't really have the prospect capital. But if they wanted to move a guy like Spencer Jones and get like really aggressive with like a Gallen and Suarez thing, which like a lot of these guys that we've been talking about, I just don't think are I don't think they're going to get moved. But I think a McMahon and Freeland would definitely be on the table.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that would be a solid package for him to go after.
For sure.
Let's move on here. Will at Overdue Sports on X said Orioles finish above 500, and in parentheses said, I can't believe that's a hot take in 2025. What do you think about that?
I'm buying that every day of the week, to be completely honest. The Orioles, the last like month and a half to end the first half were really solid. I don't know if they're still moving a guy like Ryan O'Hearn or Ramon Laureano. I know Felix Bautista is still believed to be rumored in packages. You could maybe see that. I know they already parted ways with Brian Baker, who, if you look at the advanced profile, is still, I mean, really, really solid. I think the Orioles still have a really competitive team. I think they were playing way worse than they were capable of playing. Jackson Holiday has stepped up this year in various different ways. Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn. Adley Rutschman is obviously still a good catcher. Granted, he's been kind of subpar the last year and a half ish. But yeah, I could still see a window. Gunnar Henderson was out for I think the first like 2.5, 3 weeks. Once he gets, going, Gunnar Henderson is a guy that can carry your offense for pretty much the remainder of the second half. So I could see a world where if they don't sell as hard as people are making it out to be, I could see something like that where they finish over maybe above 500, but definitely are 500 in terms of their second half record.
When does Adley get back from his oblique injury?
I don't know. I mean, that's even too, like, if they call up Samuel Basayo too, like that makes the offense like really solid. So
they're not far under 500, but in my opinion, they need a bat like that, especially after the deadline. Like both Gary Sanchez and Adley Rutschman are still on the IL. Like
they've gone through 5 catchers this year.
Jacob Stallings
5 or 6
behind the dish. Like everyone else, like if they give up guys like Laureano and Cowser, I think Samuel Basayo could fill a hole there. And then you've got Jackson Holiday still, who's performing really, really well this year. Gunnar Henderson, like you said, can carry an offense to the postseason. Tyler O'Neill still has that in him. He had a great year last year. And then Mullins has shown flashes of greatness in the season at some point. So there is a lot of talent there to make stuff happen. I mean, even Trevor Rogers has had some like pretty good
Trevor Rogers has been as of recently. Pretty good. And we're only saying that if they're not selling as much as, like I know Mullins has been rumored, Laureano, O'Hearn, like there's a lot of guys that are being rumored, but if they are willing to maybe add somehow in a world where maybe the rumors aren't true, that they want to add maybe a little bit, they don't sell as much. It's kind of like just like a soft sell. Maybe they sell a guy like O'Hearn, but then they call up Basayo, so it's not really too big of a deal. I could see a world where they have a good second half.
Yeah, and if they add a starter, especially, and they have Dean Kremer playing pretty
Bradish,
good.
I think Bradish and G-Rod are coming back. I know one of the two is coming
G-Rod. Back. I'm pretty sure because I thought we've talked about that before. Bradish, he had TJ last year on June 19th, so he should be back pretty soon, I'd imagine.
He could.
Maybe not pretty soon, but I mean, what about Povich has hip inflammation? That's been a while. I don't ever look at injuries, man, so this isn't something that I really. And elbow inflammation from Rodriguez in spring training.
Yeah, so I don't know about that.
Let's just for the sake of being safe, like let's just assume that's like a reoccurring issue maybe for the rest of the year, and that he's shut down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a world where Toby and I believe that the Orioles have a pretty solid second half. I think their offense is way too talented, and I think maybe some of the pitchers are due for some positive regression too.
Yeah, that's coming from 2 AL East fans as well.
Right.
So just keep it moving, man. OC at OC Baseball 814 on X said Francisco Alvarez comes back and hits 20 home runs. I don't know if he meant this on the season or 20 home runs in the second half. I think he meant 20 home runs in the second half.
I mean, I like the optimism is great. And I know he's partially trolling with it too.
Probably.
I don't know if we'll see like the prime Francisco Alvarez that we saw. I think it was like like most home runs by a catcher like his age. I think it was like since Piazza or something like that. But I don't know if we get to that level again, but this is also a guy that pitchers love to game call with. This is a guy that can handle a major league staff, did in his rookie year. And I think even a guy like Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer were kind of attesting to it too. So if that doesn't speak volumes, I really don't know what does. I could see a world where Francisco Alvarez does get the call back up and has a monster second half. I think his first 2 ABs or first 2 games he got sent down, he hit 2 home runs. So the talent is still clearly there. Maybe some of it was still like, I think it was like a hand or wrist injury that was maybe causing some of the struggles. But I could definitely see a world where Francisco Alvarez does really well in the second half.
He like keeps coming back and will get like drilled in the wrist in like his second at bat, and like he just sustains like these freak injuries, I feel like.
Right.
But if he comes back up, I mean, I could see a world where he goes off like for maybe like 10 home runs, 15 home runs, but we can both agree on 20 being a little egregious, probably.
Right.
But yeah, it takes care of that one. Moving down to Nick's picks at Nick's MLB picks. He says the Nats play some good ball and go above 500 post All-Star break.
I don't hate that. It's a stretch only because the bullpen is so bad outside of a guy like Kyle Finnegan, who's probably going to be moved. I will say this: I think the Nationals play much better in the second half.
Yeah,
I think with the draft happening, James Wood with the Derby appearance, CJ Abrams has been having a good year. Maybe you see a guy like Robert Hassel, kind of just maybe break out in the second half. They still have guys like Alex Call. I know Josh Bell is like still kind of kicking there too. So
he
yeah,
did really good to end the first half. By the way,
yeah,
like, that was almost a
I
player I
could,
said to look for in the second half, but I figured like not really.
yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a world where they play a lot better. I don't know if they finish above 500 in the second half just because of the bullpen stuff. And like I said, I think a guy like Finnegan's probably out of there.
Yeah, I think a guy like Finnegan's out of there. I think a guy like Soroka could be out of there. So they could be losing some key pieces that would help them go above 500, being 20 games under. That's a really big margin to kind of shrink here as we
the Nationals next year, I think, are going to be similar to what the Marlins are doing this year. The team that comes in, I guess, not as much expectations and are playing a lot better baseball than a lot of teams or people are giving them credit for. I think this is a team that could probably hover around 500 next year, and then the year after they do really well. But I think next year is probably the year where they kind of start to step it up.
Do you think their fans put like way more expectations on them than they should right now?
I thought they were going to be around 500. Like, I didn't think they were going to be a 500 team, like 80 wins. I saw them in like a 80 or 80, like a 73 to 72 win kind of window. But I think in terms of the second half, they have the offensive capabilities to kind of put it together. So my thing is I don't see the 500 thing, but I could definitely see them playing better in the second half.
Yeah, I think we could both agree on that for sure. All right, let's move on. Oh, I really like this one. So this came from Sam Fosberg at Discuss Baseball on X. He said, Jackson Chourio gets some MVP votes.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye every day.
Do we have to really break that down at all? I mean, all I'm going to say is Jackson Chourio had a really good first half, and I mean, we've seen him put together like historic second halves. So
I think Jackson Chourio was a 14-14 guy in the second half last year and was a top 10 player to end the year. I fully buy that.
Let me just see how he's doing now. Right now, he is hitting 264, on base percentage just below 300. I expect him to probably get that up pretty soon. And then his slug at 461. He's slugging a lot. WRC plus still over 100. So he's a guy who just turns it up in the second half, like we already talked about. So I could see that. I think he was like close to earning maybe some MVP votes last year. Like I don't know how
Jackson Chourio was definitely a top 10 player in the second half last year. The second half of 2024, he hit 310 with 12 home runs and 44 RBIs with 12 steals. So yeah, he was a 12-12 player in the second half. This is a guy that's probably next year going to put together like a 25-25 season.
Yeah,
I could totally see maybe some MVP votes if he goes nuclear again in the second half.
Yeah, I think that kid just became old enough to buy a beer too, like before the season started. So now we keep it moving. Database hit at Database Hit on X. He said Mullins and Bautista to the Tigs.
I don't know. I could definitely see the what's up, KD. I could definitely see the Bautista thing. I don't know about Mullins. I don't know where Cedric Mullins is really even going to go, to be completely honest.
I mean, does he have an incredible amount of value right now anyway?
I think he does, depending on what org you ask, but I have no fit for Cedric Mullins at the current moment. I love the Felix Bautista thing. I think I posted the other day, the Detroit Tigers, when they're leading after the 8th inning, were 55-0. That is one of the most ridiculous stats I've ever seen. I think they roll with 3 or 4 different closers right now. They have a couple guys with, I think, over 10 saves, so you're not getting the same look every single time. I think if they add another to the pen, it would be unbelievable. But I could see, I guess, Cedric Mullins in Detroit. I just see Felix Bautista probably there more than Cedric Mullins.
I don't really see Mullins there in Detroit. I'd agree with you. I see Bautista way more in a place like Detroit than anywhere else, really. Mullins, I don't really know. Mullins is a Philly, right? Is a comment that I'm seeing.
I could see that from
I
Nate.
could as well. And he's hitting 218 now.
Like I said, I think it definitely depends on like what org you're kind of asking. Because we saw it, and I think 23, 24 was a down year, and 25, like he's shown it, not shown it. He was really hot to start the year, and he's been like ice cold. So it's kind of all over the place. And also, I think Philly's a good fit. I think Philly is ultra aggressive at the deadline. I've seen a lot of teams just get, way over. I guess, I don't know. I could see the Phillies being one of the most overlooked teams at the deadline. Their window is expiring. JT's probably gone. Trey Turner's only getting older. Bryce Harper's only getting older. This is like one of the oldest cores in baseball. I think this is their year where they get ultra aggressive and make some big moves. I think it would be bigger than a guy like Cedric Mullins.
You think they could move some of those arms like Christopher Sanchez, maybe, whose value's through the roof, I'm sure, right now? And because I think that would be, in my opinion, pretty dumb because like they need him for like a postseason run. But I'm just thinking about the future, like a org now that has Andrew Painter at the top in AAA, and then they just took Gage Wood in the draft.
I love that. That was probably my favorite pick of the draft.
Like,
I think if Christopher Sanchez is a guy that gets moved, I know people have been saying it for years. It's probably not going to happen. It's gonna be like the Byron Buxton situation with the Twins. He loves it there. He's not leaving. I would love a guy like Mike Trout on the Phillies just because he is a Philly guy. But yeah, in terms of the Mullins thing, I think they go more aggressive than a guy like Cedric Mullins.
Yeah, no, I think they're gonna part ways with a lot of top guys. Like Crawford maybe could be gone at the deadline. I think the only prospects really safe there would be Gage Wood, Painter, Crawford, and Aiden Miller probably.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
So, yeah, I like that fit better for Cedric Mullins for sure. Could definitely see Felix Bautista on the Tigers there in Detroit. Now, I know you like this one from OC. We're going to go back to his here. Emilio Pagan is a Met. Cedric Mullins is definitely not a Met.
What's up? What's up, Will? Yeah, Cedric Mullins, definitely no. I don't have a fit for Cedric Mullins. Like I get the Philly thing. I don't know how they're doing the fish stuff.
I don't know either.
I see the Philly thing, but I think the Phillies are going to be more aggressive. Like I said, aging kind of window. Emilio Pagan of the Mets, I think, is a great fit. This has been a pitching factory the last like 2 years, and this isn't even at the MLB level. In terms of if you go and look at the Mets arms in their entire org, they are stacked. And not only in terms of like the back of the baseball card stuff, they have some of the best stuff in all of MILB. I think Emilio Pagan, who's already had a really solid season with Cincy, I think he could absolutely go stupid with the New York Mets, can help their bullpen down the stretch. And, Reed Garrett's kind of looked pretty good the last, like he had a really hot start, kind of faltered, but the last like couple weeks he's been good. Bolster the bullpen. The offense is already going to be really solid, and they're getting arms back as the year goes on. I think Emilio Pagan would be a great fit for the New York Mets.
I agree. I mean, you mentioned a lot of stuff there already just about what they do developing arms and how they can just take guys who have great stuff and make them even better. And you're getting a guy, Pagan, here who already has amazing stuff, like you already said. In terms of the advanced profile, K percentage, 94th percentile there. Whiff rate, 86th percentile there as well. The XBA is at 186 right now. Like he's already pitching like at an elite level in a ballpark that's very, very helpful for hitters. So not even a lot of work would have to be done for a guy like Emilio.
I like that you mentioned the ballpark point too. I like that you mentioned that.
This is just a guy who has to go to a contender, and I think he's going to shine even more. 20 saves already, like, dude.
Yeah,
2.93 ERA, 0.88 WHIP.
He's been great for my fantasy team. That's why as soon as I saw OC's comment, he was great with the Rays. That was a guy that I was so mad that they traded him away to, I think, San Diego at the time. I think Emilio Pagan is a great fit for the Mets. I love that.
Yeah, and I agree. Cedric Mullins is definitely not a Met. So let's move on to another OC one. And I think Katie was just asking about this one. Peter Bendix is going to fleece the Mariners in a blockbuster trade selling high on Kyle Stowers and Edward Cabrera's hot first halves. Mariners receive Stowers and Cabrera, and the Marlins receive Laz, Ford, Arroyo, Sloan, and McGraw. Lazaro Montes would be and Harry Ford in the same package alone would be nasty. And then adding Michael Arroyo to that,
dude,
and Ryan Sloan.
Dude, that would be one of the biggest fleeces that we have seen at a deadline. I will say though, and I talked to OC a little bit about this too, so we kind of agree to an extent. I think Kyle Stowers is here to stay.
I agree.
I don't think he's going to be like this the entire year. But in terms of like selling high, this is a guy that's, I think, hitting over 300 against lefties. Like, this guy is a crazy reverse splits guy. So he's not going to regress against lefties. He hits righties, I think, over 290. Some of the best power metrics in the sport, a lot of stance changes to kind of help him propel him into the 5th best outfielder in Major League Baseball in the first half. And Edward Cabrera, too. The stuff has always been there. And some of you that are playing MLB The Show, if you remember Edward Cabrera's MLB The Show card, it was one of the nastiest cars in all of the game. He has a turbo sinker. He has a turbo changeup. In terms of the raw stuff, it's always been there. And he's finally showing it this year. I think these are two guys that, yeah, they might regress to an extent, but I don't know if it's, I guess, capitalize on the hot start. I will say, though, if the Marlins did make that trade, good Lord, that would be unbelievable for them. That would be giving up, I'd say, probably too much for two of those guys.
They could easily have the best farm in the entire major leagues if that trade was to be made.
Oh my gosh, yes,
dude.
Toronto needs to trade for a starting pitcher. Thoughts? I think Toronto's ultra aggressive at the deadline, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we're going to see them make a lot of moves to try and get to the top of that East for sure. Do you have anybody in mind? Because I haven't really thought about that.
I don't know. Marlins in 3 years would go crazy. Marlins in general, like, dude, Peter Bendix, what he did at the deadline last year.
Dude, I mean, like, let me just look at some of the guys, like, because they just got Iva Arquette. I mean, you're adding those guys who are almost big league ready. I mean, obviously Sloan's not. I don't know where McGraw's really at. But, dude, I mean, the Marlins added a guy like Iva Arquette, who's probably big league ready pretty soon. You have to imagine Cam Cannarella is obviously going to be a bit more of a project. A lot of their college bats could probably make an impact here in less than 3 years. So the Marlins could be scary if a trade like that happens.
If that was an actual trade that happened, that would be just an insane fleece. That would set them up for years to come. Especially Kyle Stowers is 27 years old, going to be turning 28. I don't know if that's a guy that you're probably thinking about building around right now. I mean, dude, like a Joe Mack and like they have so many guys in the minors that could help them for years to come. And if they do sell Stowers, which, like Toby and I have been saying, all these names that have been rumored, a lot of them probably are not going to be moved. Realistically, we see this every single deadline. But if Stowers is moved, the value for him right now, especially to a contending team, would be a lot right now. I mean, he's been the 5th best outfielder in terms of WRC plus in the first half.
Yeah. No, I don't think anything else needs to be said there. Biggest arm move this deadline. Do you think Bubic gets moved at the deadline?
No, I would say probably not.
No, I agree.
I don't know. Like, I don't know, because a lot of these arms, like, I don't think are going to be moved. No, I just don't. Even Arizona's situation, like, Arizona has still been pretty solid without Burns. I know they're probably going to sell, but I don't know if, like, some of these teams are going to sell as hard as other people, like, are making it out to be.
My two right off the bat that I thought of were obviously Sandy, but I don't know even what's going on with that anymore. And then Freddie Peralta as well. I know that's been kind of talked about, but again, I don't know if the Brewers move him.
Other than if Gallen or someone gets moved, I would say maybe an underrated, but I know that there have been reports that there's, like, I guess the Rays are looking at stuff with Taj Bradley. So I think that would be a 24-year-old with team control that if he was possibly moved, that could be like an underrated guy. Obviously, like a guy like Sandy, which I've said multiple times, I think you keep Sandy and you get more value out of him next year than to trade him right now. The Gallen stuff, sure. The Bubic shout, like, who knows? I'd say still probably not, but that's a tough question.
Moncada just reported has interest from the Yankees, Cubs, Brewers, and Mariners. I'd be intrigued to see Moncada in Yankee Stadium. I've said that before.
Beautiful swing. Yeah. I mean, you want Moncada top 5, probably left-handed swing, and maybe swinging all of baseball. That would be great for you guys in the short porch.
Yeah, let's keep it moving here. Yankees missed the playoffs. That's from Baseball Today on X.
I'm going to say no. I mean, also to your point, and we've talked about this several times, the Yankees have one of these stretches every single year. They look way out of it, and then they come and kick your ass like no one's business, and you're like, wow, like this team is capable of playing a lot better baseball. Kind of similar to what the Red Sox have been doing. They went 10 straight to end the first half, and a lot of people were out on them after the Devers stuff. I don't think the Yankees missed the playoffs. Toby and I think that they're going to be hella aggressive. I think they have to be. There's a lot of guys on the team that you don't know if they're going to be there other than a guy like Judge or Jazz Chisholm. There's a lot of rentals and not as controllable pieces. The Yankees are going to get hella aggressive.
Yeah, and I didn't even talk about how the even lineup was performing because Jazz is probably still going to be playing at an all-star level throughout the rest of the year. Jason Dominguez looked really good to end the first half. There was a lot of promise there. Ben Rice still is hitting the crap out of the baseball. Is like one of the unluckiest hitters in all of baseball, I'm pretty sure. So, lot to like.
Other than the first month, Cody Bellinger has hit 300 in every single month except the first month of the season. Like,
yeah, so like I don't think they missed, dude. I don't think they missed the playoffs.
No.
Let's keep this going down to Moonlight at Moonlight MLB. He said the Mariners win the AL West, Red Sox win the AL East. I think it's going to be really hard to overtake the Astros personally. Yeah. I think you even said that you think they're the best team in the American League right now.
I would say so.
Like when the Astros are playing good baseball, they're a force. I think they are the toughest team in baseball, even tougher than the Dodgers, honestly.
To take a division. I love that. I love that. I think the Astros are a team that we've said multiple times, until the Astros are done with their reign of terror, I don't know how you buy out of them. I really don't. We saw it last year. They had one of the worst starts to a season ever for them, and they came back and they still won the division. Like, you can never be out on the Astros. They traded Kyle Tucker. They've still been one of the best teams in baseball, for doing that. Cam Smith has been stepping up. I think he's like the fourth highest odds to win the AL MVP on some sites. The Mariners, I don't see them overtaking the Astros. The Red Sox winning the East, though, I wouldn't put that out of the picture. I think the Red Sox are going to be. I think they're going to be ultra aggressive. This is a team that's won 10 straight games. Going into the break, they're probably going to make some more moves. Roman Anthony has been stepping up. Marcelo Meyer has been very good, and Ceddanne Rafaela over the last month and a half, holy shit, this guy's fourth in MVP odds right now. So, and they're getting Alex Bregman back. You better believe that the Red Sox are going to be aggressive at the deadline.
Yeah. I mean, what Ceddy's doing is unbelievable, bro. That might be the best contract in baseball now. Close to it. Romy Gonzalez as well has been on an absolute
great shout. Yep.
Then you got guys like Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. I mean, a lot to like with the Red Sox right now, especially given the fact that they're playing red hot baseball going into the All-Star break. Teams like that typically don't just get really cold after the break. So
no,
it's gonna be a really interesting race to the end of September for the AL East, and I can't wait to cover that whole thing. Next one is also Red Sox related. Alex Bregman goes on an absolute tear. I think me and I'll speak for both of us before you even get to say anything here. I think both of us are completely bought in on this.
I think this might be the most bought on thing that we probably have out of everything. I think Alex Bregman, like we saw in the first half when healthy, Alex Bregman's going to be one of the best players in the second half. The Red Sox in the second half are going to be really good. And I will say this, the last time the Red Sox won that many games was 2018. What did the Red Sox do in 2018? They won the World Series. This team is capable of a lot more than people were giving them credit for after the Devers thing. I think probably 90% of people were really negative on it, but they saved money. The clubhouse is probably doing a little bit better from some of the stuff that we've heard, and the young guys are stepping up. I think Bregman goes nuts. He's going to lead the team, and yeah, they're going to be aggressive. The Red Sox are a scary team right now.
Yeah, not to say the least. Scary team. I completely agree. I mean, that swing, the whole ballpark there in Fenway is just tailor-made to the swing. So you got to assume that, at some point or another, he's going to go on an absolute tear. And now is the time that they really need him to. So moving down to Rays Sheep at Rays Sheep on X. He said, fully convinced the Rays are going to flip Taj Bradley and some prospects for Sean Murphy.
Um, I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I think Murphy has control, but it's like $12 million or something like that. I think that is more than on the table for them. And not to mention with the whole Rays news, which I mean, we haven't really mentioned, it's going to be a lot richer of an owner. So if the Rays were going to make a move, like I said, I could see the Taj Bradley being moved with Joe Boyle knocking on the door. The only thing is too is like some of the arms in the rotation, like Rass is on an innings limit. Shane McClanahan is coming back from TJ. I mean, Drew Rasmussen has had 3 major arm surgeries. No other team in baseball right now is dealing with something like that. So the Rays are in a position where this is the first time a team has had to kind of control a guy like that. I know he might go to the bullpen for some starts and do some opener stuff, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't at all, because Taj Bradley is still 24. He would have years of control. Chris Sale could probably be moved for the Braves if they're really going to do a hard sell. And I think you could kind of build around a guy like a Taj Bradley, a Spencer Strider, a Spencer Schwellenbach to be like the heads of your rotation. And like I said, Taj Bradley is only 24 years old. So I could see a world where that does happen.
Yeah, and then they mentioned move some prospects as well. Looking through your top 30, I think there are a lot of guys here that you could move and then not see much of a hole really in your farm. A lot of guys at the top that I would consider untouchable, though. I don't know how the Rays think about their prospects, just in my eyes. From 1 to 3, Carson Williams, Theo Gillen, and Xavier Isaac, those guys got to be untouchable. Trey Morgan at 5, I really want to see him debut with the Rays. Brody Hopkins at 6, those are my only untouchables, honestly. That's obviously before the draft update and everything. So all those guys I would not really want to talk about moving. Cooper Kinney, Emilian Petrie at the back end of your top 30. Colton Ledbetter as well, a bat that I've been very high on the last year. All guys that aren't hitting like north of an 800 OPS, but do have stuff that I think you could package together and get some pretty
for sure. Bob Seymour.
Seymour.
They could do a Curtis Mead, Bob Seymour, and maybe even an Ian Seymour if they really wanted to too. So
I think there's a little Seymour squared package.
A little double Seymour. I like that little Seymour squared. I could definitely see something like that. But yeah, I think the Rays could definitely be pretty solid, aggressively at the deadline too. So I like that question.
I really enjoyed that question a lot too. I enjoyed this next question maybe even more, and I know you did as well. This one comes from Lucas Olson at Freddie the Fishy on X. I can't even read that. Sorry if I just butchered your username and you're watching this, but he said Noelvi Marte finds his stride and hits 275 or higher and homers 15 times in the second half.
I'm going to pump it on the 15. I know this is like kind of a hot take thing. I will buy that. The suspension stuff, I think, is probably behind him. To end the first half, he was unbelievable. This guy had 3 bombs and was hitting well over 300. I think we are finally probably seeing the emergence of a guy like Noelvi Marte. And I think the Reds too, like if they're not hard sellers, like Spencer Steer could get hot again. Matt McClain, which is like, I think there's still a solid player inside of Matt McClain. This was a top 5 second baseman before he got hurt. So if those guys continue to get hot, a McClain and a Spencer Steer, and Noelvi Marte fits in right well with that. And then you got like a guy like CES. CES could get hot. You have Ellie De La Cruz. You have Stevenson. They have so many guys that could get hot, and I think Noelvi has a massive second half.
Yeah, his advanced profile, while obviously not qualified, does look pretty damn good for a guy like him. Very, very small sample size here, but the thing that I really like about this take and his advanced profile combined here is the K percentage at 16.3 right now. To hit for average, obviously you can't really be striking out a lot. So yeah, thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah, I like that a lot. He's got pretty solid bat speed as well, and this is not even a qualified enough sample size for it. So, I mean, he also squares the ball up at an above average rate. So let's see those numbers maybe jump up a little bit if he gets hot here. I could easily see that panning out in terms of the average part.
For sure.
The 15 homers, obviously, I don't know. It is a hot take, but that's
I could say 10 to 12.
I could as well. I think I could see 15 too if he gets really, really hot, bro. We've seen Reds hitters get really, really hot in that park before and hit a ton of home runs.
I'm just gonna buy it now.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, who cares? I'm gonna buy it. I think there's a world where that happens. I'm buying it.
Yeah. Brady M at B Mars for all. B Marcel, I'm assuming that's what that is. Dylan Cruz goes on an absolute heater.
If Dylan Cruz comes back and is healthy, I could buy that Toby and I were talking about Dylan Cruz really hasn't had like a massive signature moment where it's like a long stretch of baseball where he's been like ultra successful. I think if he comes back off of the oblique stuff, he looks good. You have James Wood, you have CJ Abrams. I think it definitely helps him out a lot, not being, I guess, the major target in that lineup. I think if he comes back healthy, we could see a very solid Dylan Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, too good of a player to just not end up panning out, in my opinion. We've seen the type of player he is year in and year out at LSU. On-base machine, pure hitter. Like, not all careers are linear. We preach that here. And Jackson Holliday was kind of the exact same way. This might be the Jackson Holliday of this draft class. So we'll just have to see.
We talked about Kyle Stowers. Kyle Stowers having a breakout year at 27 years old. It's like not even close to the most linear sport.
Yeah. Where are we at here? At Carson Can't Code on X, he said Angels go all in and deplete the farm to make the AL wild card.
I don't see that happening. I would love that. Like, I want the Angels to be good so bad. The offensive talent that the Angels have had has been great. In drafting too, the Angels drafting has been unbelievable. Noah Shanuel, Zach Neto out of Campbell or out of Campbell. Christian Moore, like when Christian Moore gets going, man, like Christian Moore last year before the injury was like going to be fast tracked to the MLB. So I could definitely see a world where they do that, but realistically, they're probably not. If the Angels add even some more starters, and Yusei Kikuchi was honestly a really solid investment for them this offseason, I think the Angels could be really solid next year.
Yeah. The thing is with this is like the prospect hugger in me is really just like, don't deplete the farm. Just don't do it.
Right.
They have so many pieces I love, and they added so many more pieces in the draft. And say what you will about them, I'm excited to see how fast they try to get Tyler Bremner up to the majors. Christian Moore, you mentioned already. Caden Dana, I still think there's something in Caden Dana that like they could get here soon.
Right.
He's so young still, and they really had a lot of like way too high expectations for him last year with like the Jared Weaver comps and everything. Like that was ridiculous. But George Klassen, unbelievable fastball. He just showcased that velo at the Futures game. It was so much fun to watch. Joshua Lugo, who's in rookie ball, I still love his. I love his swing, what he does at short. Chris Cortez as well as their 8th prospect. Like, I don't think the Angels would bat an eye at trading a lot of those guys that I just said, but like I would really love to see what they could do for their big league team. So like, don't do it, please. But like, if you're gonna do it, go all in. Like, if you're gonna do it.
If they're really going to deplete the farm, I think probably next year is the year to do it. I think the Angels are probably better next year, and if they're around the 500 mark or over the 500 mark, around the going into the second half, you could probably see something more like that. Not depleting the farm, but definitely maybe moving some of those top guys in order to be competitive, because the Angels haven't been competitive in a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, now that I mentioned all those names, like I wouldn't at all be surprised to see a guy like Lugo get moved, who's only 18, OPSing 747 in rookie ball. I love Nelson Rada too. I don't know if you have really followed him too much, but I wouldn't expect you to follow a ton of Angels prospects.
Not the biggest Angels prospect hugger around here.
I gave you some homework then tonight.
For sure.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be like that. Cade Cortez at CMC13579. Go give him a follow. So the Rays will continue to struggle, then surge to the wild card and make the divisional round on the back of McClanahan's return, as well as Yandy Diaz MVP caliber second half. I saw your eyes kind of perk up when I said Yandy Diaz MVP caliber second half.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I also I'm not really sure exactly what the Rays are going to do at the deadline. I wouldn't even say entering, like they're in a window right now with Junior Caminero. Carson Williams has been unbelievable the last month and a half. So I don't know how much they would kind of sell off in terms of buying right now, but I could definitely see Yandy Diaz having a good second half. This guy had one of the best first halves among DHs in Major League Baseball in the last month and a half. The only guys with like a higher WRC plus were guys like Juan Soto. So yeah. I could see that. I don't know if they struggle out of the gate. I think that's what we just saw from them is probably the worst baseball they're going to play. I know the Manuel Rodriguez speculations are really bad at this point. I don't really know what's going on with that. Shane McClanahan looked good in FCL. He looked good in his AAA start. So I could see the Rays just being really solid in the second half. And like I said, I think that stretch that we saw like the last 2.5-ish weeks was probably the worst baseball they'll play.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like this take. I mean, I think Yandy will continue to rake. I want to see McClanahan be like dominant more than probably a lot of AL East fans that don't belong to the Rays fandom. So that'll be really interesting to see as well. We got a couple more, Ethan. This one came from a guy named Spankster the Gangster.
That's a great ad right there.
Said Mitch Keller and David Bednar traded to the Tigers.
I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit.
Like, I could honestly see that.
I could. I think David Bednar is a guy that not a lot of people are like giving credit to. He's looked way better this year.
Yeah, I think that would be a phenomenal move. I mean, do we have to say anything more? I mean, I think we talked about the Tigers enough in depth.
I like it. I think Keller has. Yeah, I think Keller has control. I could probably see a Bednar move more than a Felix Bautista. I think you can agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the caliber reliever, granted, Bednar's just been. If it was pre 2 years, the last 2 years, Bednar, sure, but the last 2 years he hasn't been the best. We're seeing him kind of bounce back this year. Mitch Keller has control. The Pirates are an arm factory right now. They have so many arms they don't even really know what to do with right now, especially when a guy like Jared Jones comes back next year. So,
and they got the LSU Jared Jones too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a great little late round pick. But yeah, I could definitely see that. I think the Bednar to Detroit makes a lot more sense than a Felix Bautista.
I mean, Bednar's stuff this year compared to last year has been disgusting, and the improvements are amazing. Like, he brought it back to form pretty much. The whiff rate is great. The fastball velo is obviously great at slightly over 97. K's guys at almost 35% rate. I think that's going to be really intriguing for a team like Detroit, especially if you can package a guy like Keller in there, like who has all those attributes that you already mentioned. So that was one of my favorite takes probably because I really like that package, and I think that in terms of what the Tigers could give for it, they could really give something worthwhile to Detroit. Like,
for sure.
I know you even kind of asked like before off camera, like who would they try to grab? I don't think they're going to be able to get a top 4 prospect from them. I think Briseño, Rayner, Clark, and McGonigal are all untouchable here. Lorenzo would be interested to see if he could get moved. He's not doing too great. He's hitting 235 right now in AA. Max Anderson is a player that I've really been intrigued in this year in AA. He's hitting 328 and OPSing at 910. Dude, if you're just bored and you want to watch minor league baseball, I even think we've said this before, like go turn on the Erie Seawolves. They're like one of the most fun baseball teams to watch right now.
Well, I don't even think it's a hot take. They could probably be better than the Rockies right now.
Dude, God, the team is loaded. Like, if you are a Tigers fan, like obviously you're watching the Tigers right now because of how good they are, but like you should be watching just as much Seawolves right now. I mean, they are really
the future of your team.
How-Yu Lee, their 6th prospect, could be a guy that could get moved. He's OPSing 762, getting on base at a 349 clip. Versatility there from 2nd and 3rd. So, I mean, that could be useful for a team like the Pirates, especially if they want to move on from a guy like Ke'Bryan Hayes. We'll see who they want to try and ask for. I mean, the Detroit farm has a lot of people that I think could be offered in a package like that, but
for sure.
I think we got one more left. Not Carl Yastrzemski at Not Carl Yaz says Boone gets fired, Dodgers in the wild card. I'm selling on both of these. I don't really like either of these.
I don't either. I mean, Aaron Boone just got an extension, so yeah. I don't know how he would get fired. Dodgers in the wild. Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if the Dodgers were in the wild card.
I could see the.
I like the hot take though. Yeah. I like the hot take. The Boone one is just like, no. I mean, he just got an extension, so it's not there. And I think the Yankees, in terms of their org, I think they love Aaron Boone.
They do. The players more than anything love Aaron Boone.
Yeah. So I don't see that happening. Dodgers wild card. Is there a world where that happens? Sure. Is it our world? No. So yeah, I sell both of those, but I mean, who knows? Maybe the Dodgers just don't have the best second half, but I don't see that with the type of teams that are in their division right now.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on the little Boone thing first. the players love him, like I already mentioned, number one. But I mean, other than some questionable pitching replacements, which I'm sure every manager has, like, what does Aaron Boone do that's so like egregiously bad? Like, I mean, I know at some point there was like the lineup construction was a big concern. Since then, I've kind of tuned out a lot of like Yankee fan base on a daily basis because I'm surrounding myself
Right.
with more like everything. But on the surface, I mean, Boone seems like the perfect guy for the Yankee manager role. Like like I keep saying it, the players love him, but past player, well respected among everything. It seems like. I mean,
Signature Yankees moments too, like
he
that.
backs up like he gets ejected so easily. He just loves to have the players back. I mean, what's the problem? Like, what's his like? Besides the fact that he couldn't get a World Series, like there have been a lot of Yankee managers that haven't been able to do that too.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Maybe
it
not a
is
lot,
not.
but
I think a lot of it is not with Aaron Boone. I think it's a lot to do with the front office, and I think Boone sometimes. I think Boone sometimes is the scapegoat. Yep, Jinx, perfect.
Dude, I think the
great.
Dodgers win that division, but I mean, I just don't like. Even I've been on like that fire Boone train before, but then I kind of looked at it and I'm like, I mean, who would really do any better? Like, and a lot of people get on him about saying that it's right in front of us thing. Like,
oh, I think that's so funny.
like it's so funny. Like, and honestly, like I can kind of like not, I kind of have not given like really a shit about it anymore because now like with the amount of like, I guess just like pressers I've been in for different sports, even like for football, even like in college sports, like the coaches just give coach speak. Like that's what they do. Like you're not really going to get more.
He wears it on his sleeve too. Like you got to respect the shit out of a manager that like really doesn't care about what anyone else thinks. Like he's going to go out there, he's going to stand up for his players, he's going to stand up what he believes in. There's managers in our game that don't do it as much, especially like the getting ejected thing. That's like the prime example of like you're about it. You're going to go out there and show up for your guys. You're not talking about it. You're going out there really doing it.
Yeah, that the Brett Gardner clip of him pounding like him going like this with the bat, like pounding the top of the dugout.
I know.
And, like, I mean that is all you really need to know when thinking about
drawing
how
the lines with Laz Diaz at home plate. Yeah, that's iconic.
I mean they're and for what it's worth too, Boone has like been like pretty solid with them, like multiple championship series appearances.
Yeah, I think we agreed. We said at the same time. I think sometimes he's the scapegoat. I think the front office is to blame with some of the stuff.
Only thing I will say to kind of wrap that up is if Baseball Today's take happens where they don't make the playoffs, maybe we can talk about that. But they're also pretty depleted this year. So I think even then, the front office would find a lot of excuses because Ethan, like you already mentioned, they just extended him. So I can't really see that happening. But Ethan, that actually worked out pretty perfectly. We're just over an hour of showtime here. And I saw that yawn. I know you're getting pretty tired.
A little tired over here.
But I think that's going to be it for us on the show today. We appreciate you guys like just asking us questions, giving us takes to go over here during this mailbag episode. Before made our jobs really easy considering both of us work. To just be able to get home and just kind of look at these questions and then hop on stream is always very easy for us. So we really enjoyed mailbag.
Great questions, by the way. A lot of them were like we were talking about with just like off camera, like really good stuff. So thank you guys.
And like we've done a bunch of mailbags like already in the recent like few weeks. So I was a little scared that we would keep getting kind of the same things we've been asked like the last few weeks, but we really didn't. I mean, this was really a lot of variety here. I enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. We're going to try to be live for you guys at some point here. I'm sure multiple times probably throughout the course of the weekend. So I think this is what our fourth show this week. I'm not even sure.
I mean, we're already episode 21 and it's been, a little over a month and a half. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, no, but it's been great. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Almost about 500 people in this one. So we really appreciate you guys. I know it wasn't as long length as the last couple that we've done. But if you guys want more of those and you want us to like maybe just like do that for like a game of the night type of thing, that's an idea I've proposed to Ethan before. I'd be interested in maybe going about doing that just so we get more time on air to kind of talk to you guys. If you guys can't tell, that's kind of the favorite thing that we have to do here. So we appreciate all you guys coming into the chat and giving us questions as well. But Ethan, man, I think I that's all I really got for him. If you got anything else.
No, thank you guys. Almost 500 people on a random Wednesday when there's literally no baseball today or tomorrow. But Friday we're back to watching baseball, and I think we cover the draft, we cover the home run derby. I think that's great. the draft, I think, is probably up there. The trade deadline is the most exciting time of a baseball season. There's nothing like it because there's names where you know that they're going to get moved. You don't know where they're going. And there's going to be a few names that get moved this deadline where everyone is like, holy shit, that just happened.
Yeah, I think honestly what might be fun, and this is kind of me throwing out like and spitballing ideas to Ethan on air, but maybe going live like a couple hours before the trade deadline ends.
Oh no, that's happening. that yes.
So
that,
we're on the same page with that, but I'm really excited for what's to come with that. I know you mentioned we already recapped the draft and everything. Just want to mention again, I am going to be recapping every single draft class in depth throughout the next week or two. So just look out for that, I guess. But other than that, I got nothing else for you guys either. We both appreciate all of you tuning in. If you're watching the replay, appreciate you as well. And we will see you guys whenever we see you next. Have a great rest of your night.